Good afternoon and welcome to our online afternoon lecture with the best in the project managing world, Miss Ocha. Today we will talk about how to consider the inputs on plan schedule. So, Miss Ocha, my first question is, how would the inputs affect the judgment process of planning the schedule? You may
Okay,
begin
I will
answering.
briefly explain. So, each input relates to the implementation of activities in making a project. The inputs also determine the milestones to be achieved. So, if for example a project manager does not consider the input that should exist, then the schedule information estimation process will be less accurate. So, this will in turn make a schedule to be planned badly, bringing a negative effect in the implementation of the estimated cost since the schedule is related to the cost and the schedule is not well planned.
Wow, I never thought of these many things that a good project manager should look out.
Yeah, there are much more than this. But since this is still the schedule planning process, we haven't even touched on how to manage costs in a project and the other things. So look out for that as well.
Thank you for the information. Now I shall move on to the next question. The second question is, how big will the inputs be in affecting the process? You may begin answering.
Okay, that's a very interesting question. So the input will mainly affect the whole planning process. Mainly if we use the expert judgment as I mentioned before, and the effect will be different based on the input itself.
Well, may I ask the kind of inputs available for plan scheduling management?
Okay, there are four inputs. The first one is PMP, Project Management Plan, PMP will make
Yes,
a
yes, I
big
know.
effect, but mainly will affect the development process of the project because we define the system requirement if it is needed and also the development method and of course the project scope. And then the second one is organizational process assets. It can be said that this input is the important input as it will affect the knowledge area. This input will contain the historical information, the lesson learned, the formal and informal schedule development that was happened, and the reports and so on. But compared to the other three, it doesn't make any big impact as it can be function as an additional or we can say that is the non-functional inputs of schedule planning. But for sure, the organizational process assets existence will make the schedules quality better. And the next input is sorry. And then the next input will be the enterprise environmental factors. It will affect the project development because it mainly come up as an enterprise resource, such as the team members, the culture, the guidelines, criteria that tell how well the project has to be created, and that will affect the scheduling process. But as the time goes by, it it of course it can be resolved if there will be some errors. And then the last input is the project charter. We can say that the project charter has the biggest in has the biggest impact by this far. Why? Because as we know that the project charter is the starting point of each project, so that if the project charter doesn't clearly mention, it will affect the whole scheduling plan process, and also because it contains so many requirements and policies of the project as well.
So the four inputs have different levels of importance when compared to each other, but all of them is important in the plan schedule management. Is that what you say?
Yeah, exactly. While some of the features that the inputs have can be substituted, the lack of even the least important input would make the whole plan harder to grasp and ultimately much more inconvenient to manage.
Well, thank you for the wonderful answer. I hope we can now understand the importance of considering the inputs of plan schedule management and how fatal it is to ignore even a single one of them. That's it for me. Thank you for your time, Miss Ocha.
Yeah, the pleasure is all mine. Anyway, thank you for inviting me again.
And thank you for the attendee in this online lecture. I hope this information can help you in any way, shape, or form. Good evening and goodbye.
Okay.